Hi, my name is Tara Shamus, Marketing Manager for the Americas at Dormer Promet. Welcome to our third episode of Bits and Chips. We have a very special guest with us, Lauren Ladell, otherwise known as the Spindle Chick. Welcome, Lauren.
Hey, Tara. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Good. So today, Lauren and I are going to dive into women in the industrial space, your journey, Lauren, your influence and future goals. So before we get into all that, which is probably, a lot of substance, but I just wanted to, if you could share with us a little bit about, your background and a little bit about yourself, a brief introduction.
Yeah, so I'm Lauren Ladell. I am also the Spindle Chick, as you said. I've been in the manufacturing industry for about 7 years now, which is crazy because time flies so quickly, as we all know. I'm a national sales manager for Motor City Spindle Repair, and I also have another business called American Machine Marketing, where I try and help other manufacturing companies build their brands and their social media presence, and hopefully see the growth that I've seen in the last few years. So yeah, and also I'm an advocate for women in the trades.
That's amazing. Very, very cool. So, can you share a little bit about how you even got started in the industrial sector? I know that we kind of had a one-off conversation when we initially met, and your story is very interesting because your background isn't necessarily manufacturing. You kind of just jumped on this career path or journey to where you are today, and I find it very fascinating. So could you share a little bit, like, how did you even get started here?
Yeah, I ask myself that same question all the time. Every time someone asks me that question, I'm like, I tell the same story because 7 years ago, if you would have asked me what a CNC machine was, I would have been like, I have not a freaking clue. I had no background, like you said, in manufacturing, in the trades in general. So I went to school. I actually wanted to be Erin Andrews. I don't know if you're a soccer mom, so you might know who she is, but she's a sideline reporter. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So sports broadcasting was my thing. That's why interviews, thankfully, don't scare me at this point. I love this kind of stuff. But then out of college, I graduated with a communication degree and a biology degree. So I wanted to either do sales or go the medical route. I didn't end up going the medical route. So I got a sales job in office furniture, and it just was not the realm of sales that I wanted to be in. So I went on Indeed and I just started clicking apply, because I figured if you can sell one product, if you believe in it, you can sell any product if you believe in it. Sales is sales as long as you come off genuine and you truly, like I said, believe in the product you're selling. So I applied for Motor City Spindle Repair as their regional sales manager at the time. And I met with the owner, Ted Laginski, and 7 years later, here we are. I'm now the national sales manager, and I've kind of built a brand for myself. So like I said, I definitely was not planning on going this route, but now I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it is, I mean, you're kind of put yourself out of that comfort zone, right? A little bit going into an industry or vertical that you're just not familiar with, or really didn't have any anticipation of even going into. So I'm sure it was like, oh my gosh, so much to learn in somewhat of a short amount of time. But I totally understand. It's crazy for sure.
Yeah.
But no, that's awesome.
Right. The website quote, it's like a comfort zone's a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. And that's so true with my own personal life. If I was stuck in office furniture, I definitely would not be remotely where I am now, probably. So,
yeah. And it's the challenges, right? Like we were saying, like you're outside your comfort zone, but it's those challenges that almost getting comfortable being uncomfortable is kind of where you start seeing growth. At least in my own perspective too. So it's good to get out there and try different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what would you say? So, moving into the industrial sector or the manufacturing world, what were some of like the earlier challenges you faced as a woman in the industry?
Yeah. So thankfully now we're seeing a lot more representation. And I love that. It makes my soul seriously so happy. But when I started back in 7 years ago now, you just didn't see it. You really didn't see it, especially online. There was not anyone posting videos, taking pictures of themselves. What I kind of was thrown into the water in that regard. So I was taking selfie videos on my cell phone and posting pictures, and I didn't see anyone else doing it. And I'm sure there were a few people, of course, but I was kind of just out on a limb, and I got pushed by Ted, which thankfully he was such an advocate for me, and he still is to this day, but to do something different and not seen. And so hopefully myself, along with the other women back then, were able to kind of just pave that way a little bit. But that was definitely a struggle, is putting yourself out there when you weren't seeing it at all.
Right. And to your point, even my own experience, having that support system, my background wasn't necessarily manufacturing either. It was more healthcare. So to have that support system and those champions and people around you within, your company culture to help you kind of gain traction and help you along the way to develop your career is so, instrumental. And it's so important to have those, cheerleaders, or however you want to say it, to support you along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. They were such a game changer in my success. So I owe a lot of it to them.
So what would you say are some of your key experiences or milestones, that helped shape your career so far?
Yeah. So I started on LinkedIn with 300 connections. In college, you were never told to use LinkedIn for anything other than just finding a job. So I never took it seriously. We just created a profile. We're looking for places to work, and that was it. And so I had 300 connections. I remember that number specifically. And then Ted was just like, we're going to build this brand from the ground up. You post consistently every single day, and we'll see where it takes you. And so now I am at, I think it's 89,000 connections or followers on LinkedIn. So that's a huge number of growth for me. So I definitely base it on that number specifically, but then little moments that I knew I made it, I guess, when I could just discuss women in manufacturing on women panels at different trade shows, or being selected to speak at an IMTS job. It's just little moments where these companies reach out to me and they're like, hey, we see what you're doing. We love what you're doing. We support what you're doing. And we would love for you to share that on our platform. So every time someone does that for me, I'm like, God is so good, really. So those are the moments that I realized I made it. We still got a long way to go.
So are those are the kind of the experiences that led you to the creation of the Spindle Chick? Because how long has that, I mean, it's almost like a own brand of itself, right? So that's just kind of has evolved throughout the years, just with, like you said, that support system and really getting yourself out there on different social media platforms.
Yeah. So I was just like, people know me as Lauren Ladell, but what am I known for in this industry specifically? And that's spindles. So I work for Motor City Spindle Repair. I am a woman in the sector. So let's be the Spindle Chick. The Spindle Girl sounded amateur. Spindle Woman, I'm like, still kind of gives me the ick. I don't know. Spindle Chick, kind of, it just had a nice flow to it. So that's what I am. And I don't plan on leaving anytime soon, because I don't know what I do.
No, that's great. That's great. So before we jump into kind of, women in the industrial space, I thought we'd do a little intermission and do a joke. We tend to do a couple of jokes during these LinkedIn Lives just to break it up a little bit and bring, a different side of things. So we're going to start with let's do, how did the CNC spindle handle stress? And I'll leave this out to the audience if they want to take a guess at it.
This is very fitting.
I know, isn't it?
They tailored this for us.
It's just for you. Yes, it's just for you. Any guesses? I can't see any of the comments, but I'll throw it out there. But it always knew how to turn things around. So there's our little manufacturing joke.
Spindle spin, my friends, in case you didn't know.
Spindle spin. Yes. So let's dive into a little bit about, as I'm sure you kind of, experiences, especially at the beginning of your career, some of the challenges and opportunities of women in the industrial space. What have you seen, whether personally or even outside, some of the challenges that women typically face in the industrial sector, and how have you overcome them? Or even if you've ever mentored somebody along the way while you've been in this vertical, what are some of those challenges you think that need to be faced?
Yeah, I think the number one question or message I get from women all the time is, hey, I don't see people like me in this sector, and so I don't feel comfortable being here. So how do you have the confidence to do what you do and walk on the shop floors and take the pictures of yourself and all that kind of stuff? And I'm very faith-based, and I will always talk about that in any interview I do, but I truly believe that you are literally living for an audience of one, and nobody's opinion matters about you besides the Lord's. And that's something I'm always going to say no matter what. So anyone else's outside opinion does not speak onto who you are and what your character is. So I always tell them, you have to make a place for yourself here, and you have to do it in the right ways. I don't always make the right decisions. Nobody does. But I think that over the last few years, I've really made sure to always, like, when I'm taking a picture, I'm going to do it in the best way possible that represents women as a whole in the right light. So there's a right and a wrong way, I think, to take those pictures and to be professional and thought of as being someone that's like valuable as in your company. So I always say, just maintain that modesty and learn your stuff as much as you can, so you're taken seriously. You're going to have to work harder than any male ever has. It's unfortunate, but if you have that knowledge and you're just as qualified as anyone else, it doesn't matter what gender you are, you're going to belong. So that's the advice that I give people right up front.
Okay. And then in this, this journey that you've been on, what opportunities exist today for women in this field that didn't maybe exist when you originally started or pivoted to the manufacturing world?
Yeah. So when I went to IMTS, I told you about this, but I've gone to 2 IMTS shows now. The first IMTS, what was that, 4 years ago? I could probably count on my 2 hands how many females I saw at that show. It was wild. The last show I went to, I spoke briefly at a women's panel for specifically women. It was a whole room full of women, and obviously some men were there as well supporting us. So I've seen such growth there. And this one I think is going to be even bigger, which I love. I know that the statistics for women in the trades are growing every single day, every single year. So it's just great to see those numbers. But I mean, if you just go on LinkedIn or social media in general and you look up trade jobs, you see women operators on the machines. You see people posting their pictures and their videos freely now. And that just makes me so happy, because I'm like, it was just never that way. So just seeing it is really special.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And when it comes to like encouraging that diversity in this vertical or this sector, how, in your opinion, how can companies really start engaging more women to join and and thrive in this industry?
Yeah. I think just number one is creating just an accepting work environment that supports you. Just if you're in a leadership position, if you're a man or a woman, obviously just be kind to each other and inclusive, and make everyone feel represented and valued there. But also I think that companies could offer some kind of incentive programs, or like apprenticeships or scholarship programs, or something that really just makes women feel valued and have more opportunity for them potentially in environments that are tailored a little bit more to them to maybe enter into, if they're kind of apprehensive for joining the industry in general. I just promoting female roles in general. If anyone has the knowledge, and if you're the right person for the job, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. So
Right.
yeah, just creating that supportive work culture is number one.
So when it comes to, and I'm sure you've had a lot of people, you know, like you said, you've talked at different events, you're on different, whether it's committees, obviously you have your social media platforms. I'm sure there are women that have reached out for advice, you know, and what advice would you give to young women considering a career in manufacturing or, you know, industrial roles? I know you kind of talked about a little bit in some of your answers that we just discussed, but is there something that, you know, has that advice that you've given that has really like resonated with, you know, a woman or women that are really looking to get into this industry and just trying to like, just navigate it all, right? So.
Yeah, I think the main thing is it may be really discouraging at first to enter into a place that doesn't have anyone that looks like you, but that doesn't mean that you don't belong there. So just knowing your worth, and again, my worth comes from the Lord. That doesn't mean that yours has to, but I'm always going to say that for myself. So I would say just the most general message that I give to women is that you do belong there. I would say you absolutely need to keep doing your hair, wear your makeup, wear the outfits that you feel pretty in. You don't have to dull your shine in order to make someone else's light feel more bright, if that makes any sense. So just be who you are, stand strong, and you're going to always have to, like I said, you're going to have to work a little bit harder to gain that knowledge. But if you're qualified, there's nothing that anyone can say to bring you down.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's good advice. So then let's talk a little bit about the Spindle Chick. So you kind of talked a little bit about, you know, the journey and the growing in your followers. So how, and it sounds like you had the support from Ted.
Yeah.
So, but really, how did you build your following as a Spindle Chick on social media and other platforms? I know you talked about it a little bit, but I mean, really, that's almost, you know, building your own brand, building you're almost like your own company to some extent, right?
Yeah.
So, so can you kind of, I'm sure along with myself and the audience, just really curious how this really, you know, all evolved.
Yeah, I wish I could give you an overnight solution, but it took so long. It really did. It was not something that I saw in a matter of a week or a month or even a year. What I did from day one of being on LinkedIn with my support of Motor City, I was posting every single day. I mean, every single day. It was even on weekends sometimes. I would do I would alternate. So I would do like a photo, a still image, and then a video, and then a Motor City graphic or whatever it may be, but I would alternate things, but I was posting every day. And I think that the consistency of that was definitely the main thing that I saw growth with. And then I changed what I was posting to see what would work a little bit better. But I started posting a lot of lifestyle content, motivational things, just things that the general public can relate to more so than just manufacturing, because my thought process was on LinkedIn, the algorithms, it's weird because your connections, if you are liking something, their connections will then see it, if that makes sense. So it's like a ripple effect. So if you can relate to the mass public, you're going to in turn be getting the people who are more tailored to your industry specifically viewing your stuff. So definitely that consistency, and then just being relatable, posting relatable content here and there, not just sales pitch.
Sure. No, that actually leads into my next question. Like, so how do you balance that, you know, that educational content with your personal stories and industry insights, because you are on LinkedIn and TikTok and some other social media platforms, and each one of those platforms kind of have their own following, you know what I mean? Their own kind of tone. So how do you balance that content through those different social media platforms?
Yeah. You know how many times I could, if I had $1 for every single time I've heard LinkedIn is not Facebook, I would be a billionaire by now. But I never took that seriously, because at the end of the day, I'm selling who I am as even a sales manager, or my brand is the Spindle Chick. you're selling who you are. For people to want to work with your company, they're going to want to work with you specifically. So if you can be relatable and people kind of view you as, the girl next door, or just someone they want to go grab coffee with, or someone they just like to see what they have to say, that's going to in turn give you business. So just be authentic, be relatable, be kind, and then your business will flourish because of that.
Yeah. No, very good advice. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to give Lauren a little bit of break. So maybe she can grab a glass of water. But we're going to do a quick 45-second or so product video. As a friendly reminder, we're going to be at IMTS. And when we come back from the video break, we'll get into IMTS a little bit. So enjoy the video. All right, so we're back. So we're going to get into IMTS, Lauren, and we're really excited because we're going to be exhibiting this year at the show, and we're really, really excited about it. And I know before we jumped on this LinkedIn Live, we talked a little bit about IMTS, and I know that you said you've gone a couple of times, and I'm sure throughout the years, it's definitely evolved. And so if you could tell us or share your experiences with, being at IMTS and why it's an important event for the industry from your perspective.
Yeah, you just meet so many amazing people at these trade shows, and you see all the advancements that are happening within the manufacturing industry. It's incredible. Like, to see all the work that you put in behind the scenes, and you're not seeing the greater picture of it. And then you walk around and you see all these booths in different buildings that are just filled to the brim with all these incredible machines and advances. And it's just, it all comes full circle when you go there. It's insane. So not only just seeing that, but just like I said, meeting the people in the industry that are so influential, or that you've seen online, or whatever it may be, learning more about who they are, their companies. There's just endless opportunities for knowledge.
Yeah, for sure. Is there, if you could pick one or two things, what are the most things that you're looking forward to at the upcoming IMTS event? Anything in particular?
Yeah. In my industry, I always love going to the major OEM booths. I think they're so cool to see what everyone's done. I mean, there's flying cars. There's just absolute insanity going on all over that place. All the cool robots that are taking over. I love seeing all the sectors that I work with specifically. But then again, I'm so excited to see all these different creator lounge events, like the influencers of the industry, just seeing all these people who have really been pushing for the manufacturing industry, doing what they're doing behind the scenes too, is really exciting for me to go see. And then obviously the women advancements, just to see how many women are there in general, is really rewarding as well. So there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, me too. I'm really looking forward to the event as well. So that will be good. So let's talk a little bit about your future plans and goals. So what are your future plans for the Spindle Chick brand?
I should probably have more set plans than I do. I didn't ever think I'd get to where I am right now, or that I'd have the opportunities that I do. And I'm really, really blessed for that. And that, again, just happened from consistency. So I think I'm just going to keep on keeping on and continue posting, continue advocating, continue helping other women and youth in the trades. I do really want to get more involved in the school programs and those apprenticeship and scholarship programs, like I mentioned earlier, just speaking to the youth and women to just bring them in this trade and feel comfortable here. I think that that's really important. And that's something that I definitely want to dive into a little bit deeper. But then just my Spindle Chick chats. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but I just do informational videos, and I want to continue learning this industry and just developing who I am and my knowledge of the trades more in depth. So just growth and promotion is what I'm hoping to keep doing.
Good. No, thank you for sharing that. So if you're good with it, maybe we can open it up to the audience. If anybody out there has any questions for Lauren about her journey or her role in the industry or any, advice, please feel free to ask. So we'll give it a few seconds to see if we have any questions that pop up on the screen that maybe Lauren can ask or address. No? Okay. Well, feel free to ask a question at any time throughout the remainder of the LinkedIn Live, which will just be a few more minutes. So, feel free to ask any question up until the close of LinkedIn Live. So, but having said that, Lauren, I want to thank you so much for sharing, your story and insights. Lauren will be stopping by our booth, our Dormer Primate booth at IMTS Monday, right? Sometime on Monday.
Yep.
So yeah, please come by, say hi to Lauren. I'll be there. We'll have a whole booth staff waiting to greet our customers, and we're really excited to have you to be there and to say hi to everybody that stops by. So again, I encourage you to follow Lauren on her social media platform. She's really trying to do a lot of great things. And get the women in manufacturing whole concept out there, and encourage women to join the industry. And then also don't forget to register for our next Bits and Chip Live next Wednesday. So we hope to see you then. Any closing remarks on your end, Lauren?
No, just keep on keeping on, everyone. Have the confidence that you have and bring it to the table. You know what you bring to the table. So just be confident in that, and you will succeed here. And you have me to support you. Message me anytime.
All right. Well, thanks again, Lauren. We appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing your journey with us, and I'll see you at IMTS.
Thank you for having me. I'll see you there.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.